Thanks for being here. My name is Mile Marker, also known as Madeline. This podcast aims to discover what it means to live authentically. I work to uncover tools to help me be most present in my life. Each episode, we will discuss themes like how to listen to your body, understanding ways to be true to yourself, and learning what deep fulfillment looks like. The episodes will also relate to ideas inspired by my 2024 hike across the state of Arizona. Let's do this. Welcome to episode 4. I wanted to add a little bit of clarification from episode 3 about this brownie that we found in particular. And because we were hiking and we came upon a bear box and there was something in the box that wasn't water, wasn't what we were expecting, the term for coming across something unexpected that is good and exciting and helpful for you on a hike is called trail magic. So this was our first instance of trail magic. And trail magic is a really exciting feeling because you don't expect to find something. And when you do, it's incredible. When I was hiking in Alabama on the 9th day of my 10-day hike, I was having a really, really hard time. That hike was excruciatingly difficult. And when I got to a shelter, there was a clementine there. And I was so excited to eat the clementine. And there was an applesauce, like those applesauce pouches for young children. That really brought my spirits up when I was in Alabama. I actually come across another clementine on Arizona Trail. Clementines are amazing. So trail magic is just experiencing something unexpected and helpful on your hike, and the Reese's brownie definitely was an example of trail magic. We can get into the episode now, but I wanted to add that clarification because that's something that is a phrase hikers might use. And if you're just a normal person and you know there's a hiking trail near you, especially a through hiking trail, you can give trail magic to other hikers. You can sit there and give people drinks and snacks and encouragement if you want to. So I love giving and receiving trail magic because it's nice to be receiving help, but it's also so gratifying to help other people as well, especially when they're on their through hikes, because it's pretty rigorous and you can get all the help that the world wants to give you. I definitely want to spend a few minutes talking about the silent meditation. While I still want this podcast to be focused on the Arizona Trail hiking experience, I had a very profound experience during my 10-day Vipassana meditation. And because of that, drum roll please, I am going to start a second podcast that is going to be about meditation. It's not going to be specific to meditation necessarily because I really am a meditation Gumby and have a lot to learn and a lot to practice. But I want it to be more about how we can ruminate on thoughts, harbored thoughts, intrusive thoughts that can really derail us in a lot of ways. I've been derailed by my harbored thoughts before. And I know that it's something people don't talk about because I personally have held in a lot of those opinions. You know, my mother wisely taught me if you do not have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And because of that, I was keeping a lot of my not so nice thoughts inside. But a podcast seems like the perfect place to share all of my not so nice thoughts in a way that is more productive. And I'm also hoping that that podcast is more interactive. So I want to have other guests on it with me to talk about all of the deep, dark secrets that they are also hiding away in the back or in the front of their mind that they are not sharing, because it can feel really intimidating to have so many thoughts and really intense thoughts swarming around your head all the time. But this meditation was an excellent time to spend undistracted. And by the 10th day, you're able to finally quiet your mind a little bit. I always had thoughts throughout all of the 10 days. I had songs stuck in my head for many days at a time. So my goal again was not to shut my mind off, but it was just to recognize that there are thoughts and I don't have to react to them. I don't have to interact with them. And I can focus on my sensations because that's the goal. That's the goal during the meditation, is to focus on your body sensations. And again, that's the goal for my New Year's resolution, is to notice how my body is feeling, and feeling in a sensory way, not necessarily in an emotional way. Because emotions in a lot of ways are still thoughts. Sensations are what your body is physically doing, how your body is physically manifesting respiration and perspiration and digestion, and those vibrations and those reactions. I definitely would like to develop my vocabulary around what is happening in your body that is more sensory based rather than a thought that's generated from those senses. But this meditation really allowed me to focus on what my body was doing rather than just allowing my thoughts to swarm. We're going to jump right into the hiking audio on the earlier side today because it is so relevant to the meditation. And I don't think this is a coincidence. I'm trying to not look at things happening as coincidences anymore because everything is just happening. Life happens every moment. Things are occurring. And I don't want to use the phrase everything happens for a reason because I don't even think there are reasons. I think things are just happening and we're making connections as we want to. But the audio from day 4 was when I woke up and only had to hike less than 10 miles, which in the grand scheme of this hike, anything less than 10 miles was considered a very short day. So I woke up. This clip was from the morning, and let's take a listen, and then we can talk about what was so important about this audio and how it relates to the meditation.
Hello. We are 5.7 miles in. We've been hiking for 2 hours, 20 minutes. It is day 4, Wednesday, March 13th. We met a woman named Mary about a mile back. She was hiking pretty fast. She's from Idaho. She said they're creating something called the Idaho Centennial Trail that will become ideally a through hike trail, so that will be exciting. It's not maintained yet though, so it's still in the works. Our campsite was so nice last night. The vista was great, and then our sunrise in the morning was really nice too. I drank my coffee recovery shake this morning. It was kind of gross, but it was nice to be able to get up and go in the morning and walk with breakfast instead of having to eat at the tent. We are nearly at Highway 82, and I've seen these cars pass back and forth, and I was thinking, man, it's nice that after 3 full days of hiking, we never heard any car traffic or saw any car traffic. It's really just people. There were a couple parking lots from these trailheads, but definitely not vehicular traffic, so to speak. Here's another thing I've noticed since being out here. I haven't looked in the mirror. I haven't seen what my face looks like for 4 days, and it's kind of weird. It's something you don't think about. I definitely appreciate being just outside all the time. The changes in the air, the changes in the sun, the changes in the wind, you notice them more. And it feels really good. Granted, our weather's been basically ideal. I think it's going to be warmer today, though, because it already feels warm, and it's only 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. excited to hang out in Patagonia. My body feels good. I actually had a harder time falling asleep last night than I usually do, which means that I must be getting more used to the hiking so I'm not like completely depleted and just ready to totally pass out. Granted, I still fell asleep around 8 o'clock, but 8 is way different than 6:30 or 7, I would say. Still slept through the night, had a good night. Woke up on the early side, so I was able to make Nick his coffee while he snoozed. Yeah, in really good spirits this morning. Man, I have to say though, Mary was huffing it with us, so our pace has been pretty clippy this morning on our way to Patagonia.
What you just heard was a clip from my 4th day of hiking, something you might have noticed or something you might have not noticed, but something that I am chuckling about listening back on these clips is you can hear my little feet plodding in the background, like a horse clip-clops. You can hear the gravel crunching while I'm walking, which I find endearing for some reason. But the reason I found this clip so relevant is the first main observation I had is I was so happy about not being around cars. And in our daily life, I'm constantly surrounded by cars. I live on a fairly busy residential street, and I hear cars and or sirens 24/7. It's something that we just acclimate to and get used to, but if you think about humans, Homo sapiens, we've only lived with cars for such a short amount of time, considering the existence of our species on this planet, that it's incredible what we can acclimate to, even though it's pretty extreme, the fact that we are used to living with so many noises and sounds and disturbances compared to our ancestors. And this could go down a rabbit hole, which I will not. But being on the hike without cars was so nice. And the majority of the trail really was not around significant car traffic, which is just a nice reprieve from daily life, daily urban life. And out in the meditation center, it was kind of surrounded by ranches, so there was also very little car traffic. It was on a dirt road, a gravel road that you couldn't go faster than 20 or 25 miles an hour on. There would be some trucks with trailers, but again, it was pretty peaceful out there. And the next thing I want to say is about feeling the air change and noticing things in more detail. I totally experienced that over the last 10 days when I was in New Ulm, which is where the center is, because you're not supposed to talk. You're not supposed to gesture to other people. When you have any free time, there's not much else to do other than listen to the birds, feel the breeze on your skin, look at the tiny creek that the path goes over. I liked looking at the creek. One day it rained, I think it was day 7, and I was wondering if the creek, which direction the creek flowed, if it went across to the right or across to the left from where the bridge, the little path bridge, crossed it. But the rain wasn't enough to cause that much of a flow. So it was just sort of a puddle on the left and a puddle on the right. But I noticed this because I spent time to look at it. And also, there was a small snake that I liked to look at, who was on the puddle on the left most days. If I had just been living my regular life. In fact, where my house is, it's up on a hill, and there's a park when you walk down the hill. And there is a culvert, a water drainage collection area at the bottom of the hill. And I'm sure there are wildlife in there. There's got to be snakes or maybe frogs, probably not fish. But I've never spent that much time looking in this culvert. But I spent many minutes looking at this little puddle
at the meditation center simply because I wanted to take the time to look at it. And when our priorities shift, we see things we wouldn't normally see. And I really enjoyed being on the trail and noticing the air temperature and humidity levels, because you're really surrounded by that. I know that I'm not noticing those things in my urban life, but that's the whole point of this podcast, right? Is for me to think, these things that I was experiencing on the trail are things I can still experience today. I can still walk slowly and breathe in the smells of the flowers during the springtime. I can still appreciate the things I appreciated on the trail today. Even if I'm in more of a rat race now, it doesn't have to be that way. And looking in the mirror was another great comparison, because I was looking in the mirror constantly at the meditation center. Again, during your rest times, or even sometimes you had meditation sessions that you could take in your room. I was just in this very small private room, and looking in the mirror was one of the only things I could do. So I looked in the mirror a lot, but it wasn't really with a sense of scrutiny. It was just more of a sense of, I'm doing this for entertainment almost. Like, what else do I have to do? I guess I'll look in the mirror. And during the meditation in the evenings, there would be a discourse, which was basically a video, an instructional video of, here's what you focused on during your meditation today. Here's what we have to work on tomorrow or in the coming days. Just sort of a recap. And then there would be stories about what made the meditation of the day relevant to your life and relevant in your 10-day meditation journey. And one of the phrases that is constantly in use is that things arise and then things pass away. I'm sure you may be familiar with the concept of impermanence and how life is just one big cycle of impermanence. But one of the discourses talked about when you get old, your hair turns gray. And as your life changes, your face changes, your body changes. And in each exact moment, we're never physically the same person we were even just a moment ago. Our fingernails are growing very slowly. Our hair is growing very slowly. Our eyelashes, our skin is being regenerated. Everything about us is evolving. Granted, at a slow pace, but when I started at the center, my fingernails were not very long. But by the time I left, I could tell, I noticed, oh, these are feeling much longer than I normally would leave them. I'm looking forward to cutting them when I get home. And I don't know how profound noticing these small changes are, but on a grand scale, recognizing that we are constantly changing and evolving, and something that was important to us or something that was valuable yesterday maybe is not that great for us today, because we are a new person. We physically are changing. And that's something that I had been thinking about a lot lately, was my interests and my interest level. And when I was younger, let's say starting from when I was a teenager, early teenager, through my early 20s, I was really into going out to live music, like electronic music in particular. And I've been trying now as a 31-year-old to understand, why did I lose interest in this? When did I lose interest in this? Why is this something that was just part of my past life and not part of my current life? And being at this meditation center really made me think, I do not need to put pressure on myself to dissect this evolving. The fact that I am in a new stage of life is good, is fine. It just is. And the fact that going to these shows was a part of my past, it just was. So if I don't ever feel the desire to go to one in the future, that's okay. I think that there's been, honestly, for no reason, or who knows what the cause was, but I put a lot of pressure on myself to understand why things are happening in my life, or not necessarily in a way to change them, but just to recognize what's happening around me. And one of the main things of this meditation was to just let things happen. You're experiencing life, whether or not you're trying to control it or ration with it or not. So noticing sensations around you, noticing the birds, noticing the wildlife, noticing the weather is great, but noticing it without judgment, noticing it without reaction, just be able to experience things in a more pure way rather than in a way that's always trying to get a grasp on everything. And that's something that I really want to take away from the meditation, and something that I was really able to understand and appreciate on day 4 of the trail. It's really refreshing to be able to have such meaningful revelations during my hike, and revelations, frankly, in the same way, but just via a different means through this meditation. So I'm very grateful that all of these things are happening when they happen, because sometimes you can't control the timing and things just come into your lap when they're ready to come into your lap. And even the fact that this meditation coincides with meditation related ideas from the hike on this particular day, it just happens because it's meant to be.
That concludes this episode of Musings with Mile Marker. Thanks for listening. The intro and outro music are from a track called Wake Robin, composed and recorded by my late grandfather, Bob Ackery. Cover art for this podcast was designed by Polly Morwood. Production and editing of this podcast were done by me, your host, Mile Marker, aka Madeline Ackery. See you next time.